U.S. officials in New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, California and Oregon said that they'll lift indoor mask mandates for schools and other public places in coming weeks. They're seeking a return to normalcy as soaring COVID-19 infections, fueled by the Omicron variant, abate. The changes signal a growing inclination by political leaders in those states, all led by Democrats, to take pandemic-wary residents off an emergency footing and shift towards policies that treat the virus as part of everyday life. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the administration advice to schools is to abide by public health guidelines. However, they acknowledge that the local school districts have the right on how they implement mask rules.
Our advice to every school district is to abide by public health guidelines. It continues to be at this point that the CDC is advising that masks can delay, reduce transmission. There are also a number of other mitigation measures that we've put in place, but that continues to be CDC guidance. It's always been up to local school districts to determine how they implement. We certainly understand and have seen in polling that the public is tired of COVID. We understand that. So are we. And there has been some good signs recently where there has been a decrease in hospitalizations around the country. And again, we're in constant touch about what it looks like moving forward. But our responsibility as the federal government is to rely on the data and the science that is being analyzed by our public health experts, and we'll continue to rely on that for what recommendations we're making.
Rise U.S. Correspondent Rotimi Kade joins us now for more on these stories. Good afternoon, Rotimi. It seems like the U.S. has recorded 900,000 deaths. That's an alarming number. What's the overall picture looking like in the U.S. at the moment?
Well, the overall picture is very gloomy for the future of, get out of the woods of. It's been really distressing for some families who have lost loved ones in the past 2 years. Some have also expressed, some sort of optimism that maybe perhaps the vaccines will definitely do the magic. But so far, so good. We've actually not seen a significant decrease in the deaths, even though we've seen much more low hospitalizations and, perhaps maybe we've seen also, low deaths, but we're still recording, deaths in their thousands. What I mean, as of yesterday, the CDC actually reported, I should say the Johns Hopkins University actually reported about 2,000 deaths per day, as it were, and across all the states. That even is, not what was anticipated post Delta variant, actually defining a new stage, for a U.S. fight against COVID. So right now, I think it's really a mixed bag of emotions, a mixed bag of doubts as to when this is going to be over finally. The U.S. is not out of the woods yet, and is already, putting all his eggs in one basket by saying that the vaccine is the way to go. Once you get vaccinated, you from, some of the very devastating recourse as regards to COVID.
We've just heard that several states are moving to lift mask-wearing mandates for certains. What's behind this, Rotimi?
Well, I think most of the governors are saying that the rate of hospitalization is down right now, and perhaps for the schools, they actually did not see any significant changes as regards to the mandate. So they decided that taking this off the shoulders of school district or perhaps the state would definitely help improve not necessarily the health of the students, but to generally ease that tension between those people who are pro and anti, mask mandates. So, but generally, I think what is being on the table right now is just one out to make sure that this is not going to be, perhaps maybe it's not going to be it's not going to be the it's not going to be what them from actually not achieving their goals. But one thing is very certain about it. One, the school have the authority to actually maintain the mandates, perhaps go with what the states are doing. But significantly, there's a sense of there's this sense that states actually can actually move forward without necessarily having the mass mandates on students.
And as we wrap up our conversation, overnight, the U.S. Center for Disease Control issued a travel warning for a number of countries. What can you tell us about this, very briefly?
Yeah, well, the CDC actually said that, some of the countries of any U.S. citizens or permanent regions like regions and the Middle East, and also in some parts of Asia, saying that even though you're vaccinated, there's absolutely no guarantee that you will not be infected. So infections in those countries, like for instance, in Cuba, for instance, or perhaps even in Israel, has tripled over the past few weeks, and CDC is laying this out straight to people who may likely travel to those areas, that they should be not just careful, but also make sure that they're fully vaccinated. And if they can leave or perhaps postpone their travel, it will be a lot better. Because eventually they're going to come back to the U.S. And once they come back to the U.S., what it means is that it's going to add to the burdens of the rate of infection that the countries are currently battling with.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all of that information, Rotimi Kade.